Anyone can follow. It takes something special to be an original, which is why the 2025 Lincoln Navigator SUV arrives with new ways of surrounding you in luxury, including the ultra-wide 48-inch panoramic display and the multi-sensory Lincoln Rejuvenate experience. A true original never stops evolving. So meet the 2025 Navigator, the original that's all new and better than ever. Learn more at Lincoln.com. Lincoln and Navigator are trademarks of Ford or its affiliates.
Arizona awakens your senses. From sparkling rivers to painted valleys, unforgettable sunsets to radiant night skies. Surround yourself in vivid color, only in vibrant Arizona.
entering a realm between the hidden and forgotten, a slipstream caught between realities, a secret museum of the esoteric, the private library of shadows, all taking place in a world forged from mystery and caught between logic and myth. You are entering ParaReality.
Good evening, seekers of the strange and the unexplained. Welcome to ParaReality, a place where shadows whisper, mysteries linger, and the line between fact and the unknown grows razor thin. I'm Sandman, your guide through the hidden corridors of reality. Here, every question awakens a mystery, and every mystery pulls us deeper into the truth concealed in the shadows. Tonight, we step once again into the world where truth and mystery collide. You know, this summer has been one hell of a ride. Between the travel, the festivals, and the conventions, I barely had time to catch my breath. I hit 4 major events, each one packed with believers and skeptics, storytellers, and the kind of weird energy that keeps me doing this show year after year. One of those events, Anomicon, I had the honor of speaking at, sharing the stage with some of the biggest names in the paranormal, UFO, and cryptid communities. The other 3, the Smoky Mountain Bigfoot Festival, the Tennessee Wildman and CryptidCon, and the West Kentucky Paranormal Expo, I attended on behalf of ParaReality, out there pounding the pavement, talking to people and collecting stories straight from those who've lived them. Now, you might have already heard the episode I dropped from the Bigfoot Festival. It was packed with some incredible encounters and local legends, but here's the thing. I didn't quite get enough material from the Tennessee Wildman and CryptidCon to fill up a full episode, so I decided to hold on to those stories that I did get and see what I could pick up at the West Kentucky Paranormal Expo last month. And let me tell you, that trip paid off. The West Kentucky Paranormal Expo did not disappoint. Not only did I get enough material to round out the episode I'd planned, but I ended up with so many great stories that I couldn't fit them all into just one show. So tonight, you're getting part 1 of a special 2-part episode featuring first-hand accounts and spine-tingling experiences from attendees of the Tennessee Wildman and CryptidCon and the West Kentucky Paranormal Expo. So grab your headphones, turn down the lights and settle in, because it's story time on ParaReality. Of course, to learn more, you'll have to turn on, tune in, and find out. Well, the Tennessee Wildman and Cryptid Con took place on Saturday, August 16th, 2025, at the Milner Recreation Center in McMinnville, Tennessee. It was a gathering that celebrated all things strange and unexplained, from Bigfoot and Dogman to hauntings, UFOs, and the countless mysteries that refuse to fit neatly into our understanding of the world. The event featured an impressive lineup of speakers and investigators who've dedicated their lives to chasing these mysteries. Among them was a man that I've been out to dinner with, Martin Grove. He's a man who's personally collected over 300 eyewitness accounts of unusual activity throughout the Smoky and Appalachian Mountains. And he shared his insight into the hidden world of Bigfoot and Dogman, two creatures said to roam those rugged hills. Other keynote speakers included names familiar to anyone in the cryptid community: Daryl Denton, M.K. Davis, Chester Moore, Tim Coombo Baker, Jesse and Joe Doyle of Hellbent Holler, R. Scott Nelson, Linda Eastburn, and Randy Hutchings. Beyond these presentations, the place was alive with energy. There were rows of artists and vendors selling everything from cryptid-centric art and handmade crafts to books and field gear. And, of course, ParaReality Podcast was there, too, meeting the listeners, trading stories, and recording material for the show. Now, while I was there, I talked to probably a dozen people who shared their experiences, but as you can imagine, not everyone's eager to have their story recorded for the world to hear. In fact, I only got 2 of them to agree to be recorded for the podcast. Now, before we dive into the first clip, I want to start with something a little different. This is a personal retelling of a story that was shared with me and my good friend, Easy E, who was there helping me out that day. This one wasn't one of the recorded stories, but it's one that stuck with me and Easy E ever since we heard it that day. Now, I need to make it clear before I play this clip that I can't verify what this person told us. She didn't have dates. She didn't have photos. There wasn't any physical evidence. But what she did have was conviction. She seemed sincere. She had nothing to gain, and both Eric and I walked away with the same impression, that she genuinely believed every word of what she told us. And if what she said is true, then it could blow the lid off of one of the biggest conspiracy theories of all time. So without further delay, here's that story as Eric and I retold it later on our sister show, The Midnight Syndicate.
Sometimes the most unbelievable stories come from people who have nothing to prove and everything to lose. This is one of those stories.
We went to the Tennessee Wildman and Cryptid Con together, and we were representing ParaReality. And
Yes.
while we were there, we met this lady.
Yeah, we met this lady. Actually, you talked to her first, and then you're like, dude, you gotta come here. You gotta
come
come
over here.
here.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, it was a couple. They had quite a few stories. I'd say a handful of stories, but there was one that definitely stuck out.
Yes.
Yeah.
Older couple, older lady. She looked to be what? Maybe in her 70s, maybe early 70s,
Yeah.
something like that. She did not tell me her name.
Yeah.
And the whole reason we were there was to collect stories for the podcast. Because if you listen to the ParaReality podcast, you know that I go to conventions and I collect stories from the attendees and I put them together in an episode. And I'm like, here we go, you know. And so that's what we were there doing. And I was asking her, she had come to the table And we were talking. I'll say, hey, you got any stories or, anything weird, unusual happened to you, blah, 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 trying to, get her. And she said, well, I've got a story, but it's not really my story. And I was like, well, what is it? Whose story is this? And it wound up being her niece, right?
Cousin.
Yeah, it was cousin. That's right. It was her, the story of her cousin. And she didn't really want to tell the story. But I'm not going to say I twisted her arm, but I coaxed it out of her.
Yeah.
And I wish she would have gone on the record and come back and told this story on the podcast, but she did not. She did not want to tell it on the podcast. But she did share it with us, and I did tell her, I'm going to be talking about this. And she didn't say I couldn't. But, there's no names. She did not give names.
It's all anonymous, yeah.
I don't even know her name. Don't know her husband's name. Don't know the name of the cousin. But apparently, back in 1969, whenever we were going to the moon with Apollo 11, she had a cousin that worked at Redstone Arsenal in Huntsville, Alabama. And that cousin was the administrative assistant to Werner von Braun. And after they went to the moon and came back, she was talking to her cousin, and she asked her point blank, did we really go to the moon? And she was like, well, we did and we didn't. And of course she was like, what do you mean by that? And the cousin said that we did land Apollo 11 on the moon. And we did step foot there. But we did not stay for very long. That she did not say how long that they stayed up there. It was just a very short period of time because there were, quote, things up there that they weren't prepared for. And they saw things that they weren't prepared to see, and they thought it was in their best interest to leave very quickly, which they apparently did. And so I asked if the moon landing footage was real, and she said that yes, most of it was real. However, before they even did the launch, that they filmed some stuff somewhere on a soundstage with them walking on the moon and doing certain things, but it was not an attempt to deceive the public deliberately. It was because, or at least her cousin was told, that the pretense was, in case we lose video and audio signal, we want to have something to show the American people. So whenever they beat feet and left it early, a lot of the footage that we got shown on TV was the footage that they had shot previously to use as emergency footage. And when she was in the middle of telling me all this, that's why I was going easy. I was like, you got to get over here. You got to get over here. And I asked her, once again, point blank, did Stanley Kubrick film all of this stuff? And she was like, I don't know. I don't know who did it.
Yeah.
And so looking at her now, I consider myself to be a pretty good interpreter of body language and posture and tone and stuff like that, and not because I'm like some sort of super detective or anything like that, but I've worked in the healthcare field for all of my life, and it's just people like me, and my background is in emergency medicine, and you can just, after a while, you learn how to read people.
Yep.
And I did not get any sense that what she was telling me was something that she was making up on the spot. That I was looking at her body language. She didn't like maintain eye contact with me the whole entire time, but she didn't avert her gaze deliberately. She was, when she was talking and she wasn't looking at me, you could tell that she was like thinking, you know, like trying to remember details and stuff as I was asking her questions. So I don't have any reason to believe or disbelieve this person, you know, but I didn't get any sense that she was trying to deceive me.
I did not either. I mean, I could tell that she'd probably told that story a few times.
Yeah.
Like it was pretty succinct. Like she told the story, got to the points. But you're right. I mean, she was like, there were a few people we talked to that not tell, believable at all. Yeah, you could tell they were stretching things like So yeah, they were a bit out there. But no, she was very normal, just like a typical Southern lady. Yeah.
And we tried like hell to get her to tell the story for the record, and the closest we got was, I'll think about it and I'll come back. And of course, she never came back.
No.
Wow. You can imagine my reaction when I heard that. I mean, come on. That's one of those stories that stops you dead in your tracks. Now, I've been doing this a long time, and I've heard a lot of wild claims. Everything from secret alien bases to underground government experiments. But this one hit differently. Here's this elderly woman in her 70s. No social media, no merch table, no books to sell, no reason whatsoever to make up something like this. She's calm, polite, totally matter of fact, and then she drops that bombshell that we went to the moon but had to leave early because of things that were already there. Now, I'll be honest with you, I've never doubted the moon landings. Not once. I've always believed the footage was legit, that it really happened just the way NASA said it did. Now, sure, there's plenty of conspiracy chatter about it being filmed on a soundstage, but I always chalk that up to, Cold War paranoia and a healthy dose of imagination. But what this woman told me, it's not the kind of thing that fits neatly into any existing narrative. She wasn't claiming we didn't go. She was saying we did, but that we weren't alone, that something or someone was already up there. Now, let's be clear. There's no evidence to verify her story, like I said. None. There's just her word and the supposed word of her cousin, who, if true, was working directly for Wernher von Braun, one of the most brilliant and controversial figures in the history of space exploration. And if this is accurate, that would make her cousin an eyewitness to one of the most significant cover-ups in human history. And what really gets me, though, is her explanation about the so-called backup footage. She said NASA filmed some scenes in advance, not to fool the public, but as a contingency plan, just in case something went wrong with the live feed. And that actually makes a strange kind of sense. Just think about it. This was 1969. Technology was still in its infancy compared to what we've got now, right? And a lost signal during one of the most watched events in human history? That would have been a PR nightmare. So maybe, just maybe, when things didn't go like they had it planned on the moon, when whatever happened up there caused the crew to leave early, NASA filled in the gaps with the pre-filmed material. And if that's true, it could explain why the footage has always looked a little off to some people. But that still leaves the biggest question hanging in the air. What did they see up there? What was so unexpected, so terrifying that it made them cut short one of the most important missions in human history? Well, I don't know the answer, and honestly, that's what makes this story so fascinating and so unsettling. Maybe it's just a rumor that's spiraled into legend. Maybe it's another tall tale born from the fever of the old 1960s space race. Or maybe, just maybe, this woman stumbled onto something that most of us were never meant to know. Either way, it's one of those stories that sticks with you, the kind that makes you look up at the night sky and wonder what's really out there and what we might have already seen. Up next, we're going to hear from one of the few people who did agree to go on the record, a first-hand account about a time loop. But first, I hate to say it, but I've got to do this.
This episode is brought to you by Indeed. When your computer breaks, you don't wait for it to magically start working again. You fix the problem. So why wait to hire the people your company desperately needs? Use Indeed's sponsored jobs to hire top talent fast. And even better, you only pay for results. There's no need to wait. Speed up your hiring with a $75 sponsored job credit at Indeed.com/podcast. Terms and conditions apply.
Welcome back. Up next is Tamara, and she has a fascinating story about a time loop that she and her mother experienced when she was a young girl. It's a mystery that involves Tamara, her mother, her sister, and a bag of groceries.
And I can't wait to hear the story. She was telling me a little bit about this. This is great. Ma'am, go ahead and tell us your name and where you're from.
My name's Tamara Carr, and I'm now from Crossville, Tennessee.
Crossville, Tennessee. I understand that you have a time loop story.
I do.
I would love to hear this story.
Well, I'd love to tell it too because nobody believes me. But I was 12 maybe, and me and my mom and sister were doing spring cleaning, and my mom sent my sister to the store to pick up some stuff. So we're in the back bedroom cleaning, and we hear the door open and close, and my mom says, "Terry, is that you?" And she says, "Yeah, Mom, it's me." She said, "Did you get the stuff?" And she says, "Yeah, it's right here." And we heard her put it on the kitchen table. So we both go out to the kitchen to see her, and there's nobody there. And we didn't say a word to each other. We just turned around, walked back to where we were, kept cleaning, and 5 minutes later, we hear the door open and close, and my mom says, "Terry, is that you?" And my sister says, "Yeah, Mom, it's me." And my mom asked the exact same thing. "Did you get the stuff?" And she says, "Yeah, it's right here." And we hear it hit the table.
Hit the table, yeah.
And we both walk out the exact same way, like we had to. We go out to the kitchen, and she's there that time with the stuff. And we said, "Terry, how come you came and left and came back?" And she looked at us like we were crazy. She said, "This is the first time I came in the house." And since that day, everything has always seemed a little bit off. And it's kind of like I saw a little glimpse into the future, and it's baffled us to this day.
Now, what do you mean by things have been a little bit off? Can you describe that a little
like
bit?
in my career, different things. It's like I had like a 2-second advantage. And I would kind of know things that were coming, and then they would happen exactly like I thought I saw it happen in my mind, in my reality.
Premonition,
Yeah, like precognition instead of just a little brief flash ahead.
Yeah, like a wrinkle in time.
And you have no explanation for why this happened?
No, and it freaked my mom out. She wouldn't talk about it. But before she passed, we talked about it for a couple minutes, and she says, "No, that's exactly what happened, but I never wanted to speak of it because it always made me feel funny."
Wow.
So that's my story.
And have you ever had anything remotely similar to that happen since?
No, not like that, to where it was a whole step out of time. Just like I'd have a feeling, don't go there, don't do this.
Like that little voice inside your head that's telling you.
Yes.
Yeah.
And I think unless you live through it, I understand why nobody believes it. But it's what happened, and it's like burned into my memory.
Yeah.
And we're talking 15 years ago.
I can tell that it affected you because I can see.
Oh yeah.
I can see the emotion on your face, and I can hear in your voice.
Oh yeah. I can still replay it in my mind today. It was that drastic.
But your sister just said everything was normal to her. It was nothing affected her. Yeah.
I went to the store, I got the stuff, I came in, you said that, I said this.
She didn't experience anything, just you and your mother.
But the interesting thing was we couldn't stop ourselves. When we went out to the kitchen the first time and she wasn't there, we didn't say a word to each other. We just two puppets, we turned around and went right back to exactly what we were doing.
That's what I found unusual, and I was going to come circle around to that. So why do you think you didn't?
It was like we were on autopilot. It was like we had to.
You just couldn't control it.
We got a step at a time, and we had to go back. And then when we heard her the second time, we had to do the exact same thing.
Wow.
Nothing changed, except she was there the second time.
Wow,
and that's my story, and honest to God, I'm sticking with it.
Well, that's a great story.
It's
Thank
a great
you for
story.
telling us
Yes.
that. That's a good time slip story. Thank you very much.
All right.
Now we have our final story from the Tennessee Wildman and Cryptid Con. This is Meg, and she has a rather unusual story about an encounter she had with what we got together and we decided we're calling it a Bigfoot because we don't know what else to call it. And what makes this story unique is that it isn't just about someone seeing a big hairy hominid crossing the road at night or just hearing some whoops and grunts in the woods. No, this story is about something that we're calling a Bigfoot that quite possibly saved Meg's life. Now, warning, this story contains a suicide attempt. So here is Meg's story about her savior.
Storyteller here. This is Meg.
Hi.
Meg, hi. Understand you have you didn't really tell me what it's about, but the title of it sounds real interesting. So please introduce yourself and tell us where you're from, if you don't mind.
So my name is Meg McGee. I'm from Knoxville, Tennessee.
All right.
And originally I'm from Connecticut, but I've been in Tennessee for half my life.
And what is your story about?
So it's kind of dark, but it turns out to be a really cool thing that happened in my life.
We like dark and cool stuff here.
Yes. So last year I was with an ex and some friends of his at a cabin in Blue Ridge, Georgia.
Okay.
And we were all drinking, and they were actually doing some more stuff that...
Recreational activities, yes.
I was not participating in that, but I was drinking. And I had gotten into an argument, and I was very depressed at this time with my ex, and went out to the front of the cabin while they were in the back of the cabin by a fire pit. And I was just up there just keeping to myself and crying, and I heard this very high-pitched screech, but sounded like very low in tone.
Like out in the woods?
Just out into the woods.
Okay.
And just like a huge crash, like a big rock. And I just paused and freaked out for a second. And then I heard yelling from back where they were sitting at the fire pits. So I ran around the cabin. I was like, did y'all hear that? And they're like, yes, we heard that.
Oh,
I'm
they
like,
heard it too.
Oh my gosh. Like, yeah, they heard it too. It was 4 of us that heard the exact same noise. And we just sat there in silence. And that's when we realized, like, it wasn't just us being silent. Everything was silent.
Uh-oh.
And so the reason why I named this Savior is because that's actually a really bad weekend for me. I had actually tried to commit suicide the next day because I was really, really depressed. But something stopped me. And I don't know what force it was. I call it God. Obviously, God saved me. And I was able to leave that relationship very soon after because it was very toxic and abusive. Okay. But maybe just all forces combined that weekend led me to make that decision. I don't know, that's why Savior, maybe God and whatever force is there kind of just helps me and push me to make the right choice.
So you feel like
whatever you heard in the woods was something that was influencing you in a positive
Yeah,
way?
like something like trying to like wake me up.
That's very interesting.
Yeah.
Are you a believer in things like, Bigfoot and
Oh, yeah,
Chupacabra
absolutely.
and stuff like that?
Yeah.
What are your thoughts on? There's a big, I don't know, probably in the last 10 or 12 years, there's been a big push about the quote unquote paranormal side of Bigfoot.
Mm-hmm.
Like, so what do you think? You think Bigfoot is like just a regular God created creature here on this planet, or you think he's something more ethereal?
I think ethereal. I think Bigfoot is up there with unicorns, and but I also believe in the paranormal side of like people paranormal too. Like I went to Brushy Mountain, and
it's on my bucket list.
Yeah, duet.
That's on my bucket list.
Oh, I love it. Like do the night tour. It is awesome.
Sweet.
Like you definitely see things and hear things. You go into and that's another experience I had was in Brushy Mountain. Where there's like this interior room and it's completely pitch dark.
Uh-huh.
And if you go in there with the lights off and just sit there for a minute, you will start to see figures across like in these glass rooms that are like parallel from each other. It is intense.
Like shadow figures?
Like almost
Wow.
like outlines of something like shadowed in those rooms.
Have you ever been to Waverly Hills?
A what?
Waverly Hills? Have you ever been to Waverly Hills?
No, I think someone I know went to Waverly Hills, but no, I haven't.
You should go.
Yeah.
I recommend it because you get to see something very similar there if you're lucky.
Yeah.
So getting back to your story, so you feel like something that was there was sending something positive to you.
So I think something happened because like what I tried to do whenever I attempted it.
Now you don't have to get too deep in this if you don't want.
And because nothing happened because nothing could happen. It's like something stopped.
Something was like
a barrier.
Physically, stopping you from doing.
Yeah.
Okay.
Like it ends. And there's, I'm a believer of Jesus, and like I know like he definitely intervened in saving my life, but like something else happened that weekend that made me feel like I could just conquer the world, I did.
Did you feel like maybe some sort of energy emanating into you from? Yeah.
If I had to think back, yeah.
That's
like,
very interesting.
Because there's one thing. There's the craziest thing, and the thing that I tried to use to, exit the world. I threw it after I could not go through with it, and it disappeared, and I never found it again.
Wow. Well, that's a good thing.
Oh, I know, but it's just like, where did it go?
Exactly.
Like it wasn't in it was in a room where you can't really hide.
So you didn't throw it like outside; it was inside.
No, it was inside, and but I was by myself, and later that night I couldn't sleep, and the next day I just felt comfortable going outside and just being by myself, even though like that crazy thing had happened the previous night. It's just, I don't know. It's just the weirdest thing that ever happened to me.
Thank you for telling me that story. That's one of the most unusual.
Yeah.
I don't know what to call it. Bigfoot story. Maybe that's what was out there. I don't know. That's one of the more unusual stories, and I'm glad it had a happy ending.
Yes. Very happy ending. I'm like, well, first of all, again, if you remember at the beginning, we were drinking. I've been sober for 11 months now.
Congrats.
And like life has just turned around like 360. Everything is going perfect and in any possible way I can imagine.
That's
I'm
great.
so very blessed.
That is great. And I am glad. First of all, I'm sorry that you had to go through whatever it was that you had to go through.
Yeah.
It's none of my business, but it obviously wasn't a good thing to bring you to that point. But I'm glad that whatever stopped you was there.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm glad that it stopped you, because I'm looking at you now and you're smiling and you look healthy.
Yeah.
And you're a beautiful specimen of a woman. and it's a great thing that you have the ability to look back on that and say, even though that was scary and I was in a dark place in my life, that something positive came out of that.
Yeah.
And this is one of the more, I'm calling it a Bigfoot story because it sounds, that's probably
what it was, what we don't know, but that's one of the more unusual stories, and I'm glad that you're still here with us to tell that story.
Yeah,
so
me
thank
too.
you very much. Thank
You're
you
welcome.
so much.
Thanks for letting me tell the story.
Yes. Great story. Thank you.
You're welcome.
So what do you make of that, listeners? Was that a Bigfoot off in the distance that distracted Meg from what she was about to do? Was it divine intervention that caused the instrument she was going to use to harm herself to malfunction? Was all this related, or was it just a big coincidence? You know, I hear stories all the time about the paranormal aspects of Bigfoot, like it's an interdimensional being, or even like they have psychic powers and such, and, you know, stuff like that. So what do you think? Was this even a Bigfoot encounter at all, or was this something of like a more higher plane of existence helping Meg out? Now, I want you, if you're listening and you're struggling, I want you to remember this. Your life matters. Sometimes the thoughts you're having can be overwhelming, but they don't have to be the end of your story. You don't have to carry that weight alone. There are people who want to listen without judgment, people who understand, and people who are ready to help you find a path forward. Take the next step and make the call. The 988 Suicide and Crisis Lifeline. You can call or text 988, or you can go to 988lifeline.org. It's free, it's confidential, and it's 24/7. So if you're struggling and you need someone to talk to, just call or text 988. Next up, we begin the stories from the West Kentucky Paranormal Expo. Now, this event was held in Mayfield, Kentucky on September the 27th, 2025, and it featured investigators, researchers, and TV personalities from the paranormal and cryptozoological fields, as well as tons of vendors of all sorts. And, of course, I was there meeting the listeners and trading stories and recording material for the show. This time, I didn't have any problems getting people to tell their story for the podcast. In fact, I got so many stories that I'm having to split it all into 2 parts just to cover it. So without any further delay, let's get right into it. I want you to keep in mind that this is at a live event that features a lot of background noises, so in some of these interviews, you'll definitely hear a lot of extra stuff going on in the background. Now, there's nothing that I could do about it. There's nothing I can do about it, so it is what it is. So, you're just going to have to deal with it. So first, from the Kentucky Paranormal Expo is AJ, who has a very interesting story about some possible forest people deep in the woods of Kentucky.
Okay, I'm here at the West Kentucky Paranormal Expo in Mayfield, Kentucky. I've got my first storyteller of the day. Sir, tell us what's your name and where are you from real quick?
My name's AJ Wilson, and I live in Gallatin, Tennessee.
Gallatin. All right, that's right down the road from me. I live not too far from there, so just right outside of Nashville. So
Yes, sir.
yeah, so nice to meet you, AJ. I understand you got a story about some forest people in the woods.
That's correct.
Yeah, I'd love to hear it.
So a little while ago, I was on a public investigation at Fort Duffield, Kentucky, and it's a pretty laid-back sort of event. You kind of go there and feel the energies in the woods and around the surrounding area. A lot of Native American before it was a Civil War fort.
Yeah.
It was like a meeting place for different tribes due to the geographic location. And well, there's a lot of energies that go through there. Late it was probably about the last hour of the event. We had some devices set up around close to where the bonfire was, and it was asked. We had a flashlight, and we had established that the flashlight was a positive response, and a red light on the REM pod was established as a no. And we were having quite a lengthy conversation with something that was responding to us. And we were having fun. Like, it was kind of like jokey a little bit throughout. We were just all having a good time. And then about 20 minutes before the end, all of a sudden we had a a massive tree come down, and then it was followed by more and more. Like, there was about 2 gigantic trees coming down right at that one moment after we had just asked, will you please show us something before we leave? And it was quite an amazing event that I will never forget.
And you just hey, show us something, and then this massive tree fell down. We had been investigating the tree line, getting to eye shine from the woods, and we had heard a few branches here and there, normal type stuff, and we kind of ruled out a lot of it, but it was all throughout the night. But this culminated in one of the biggest, like, it was not a little tree. Was this like a dead tree already? Or
no,
was
it was, well, I mean, it was nighttime, so we didn't know. But the timing of it was different than I've ever. I mean, it was like immediately after we had asked the question, so it was like an unexplainable. And there was a lot of. It was just an amazing thing that I will never forget.
I imagine. Did you have any after the event happened? Did you get any like sense of like there's like a presence here, or there's somebody around watching us or anything?
Yeah. So earlier I was kind of in a meditation and really feeling things moving around on the property inside of my heart and my mind. And that's kind of the way those things go. Is you can feel it. You just know. If you know, you know.
Yes, and, that's true. It's hard to like put that into words. Really.
It really is. But it was a culminating event that kind of throughout the night kind of built up. And this was a little bit, I had been there one time previously, and it was special that time, but this time it was really try to communicate something with us.
Yeah.
Letting us know they were there.
That's amazing. That's a great story. Did you have anything else happen besides that? Did you, like, I know you said you were getting some eye shine. Did you?
Yeah, well, initially in the night, me and my team member, we had walked down to a memorial site. The bodies aren't actually there, but it's a memorial site. And we were just kind of drawn down. And we didn't get a whole lot right there, but on the way back down the path, we were getting things following us. And we definitely had eye shine and shadow movements. And it was, you could feel it on like one side of my body was tingling.
You just get the goosebumps.
Out of nowhere. And
nice.
It was just like, oh man, this is so cool. Oh my goodness. We were talking to them. You could follow us, you can follow us. And the more we were talking and being kind to it, it was responding with these feelings. And we were getting more sounds and movements and footsteps coming down the trail.
Great.
I mean, this place is amazing. If anybody gets a chance, they should go to Fort Duffield, Kentucky, and investigate.
I have to put that on my list. All right, AJ, thank you very much. I appreciate you telling me the story.
Absolutely.
All right, appreciate it.
Okay, so that seems a little weird to me. A tree falling immediately after AJ asked for a sign of a presence could be just a coincidence, but it could also be exactly what AJ thinks it was, a sign. And you can't rule out those eye shines either, so maybe there's something to it. Now, next, we have a duo. This is Shannon and Richard. They are a paranormal investigations team who have actually written a very interesting book called The Haunting of Beech Grove, and that's based on true first-hand accounts of paranormal events that were taking place at Shannon's grandmother's home. Now, this, to me, is very, very fascinating because they have these journals that they use to write this book, and it's it just really fascinated the heck out of me. Now, I want to warn you, though, that this little interview here also has a reference to a suicide. So here is Shannon and Richard's story about the haunting of Beech Grove.
All right, everybody, I got my second victims here. Wanted to tell me a story here at the West Kentucky Paranormal Expo. So go ahead, guys, and sorry I don't have another chair, dude. I wish they would have given me another chair. Go ahead and introduce yourselves real quick, and tell me where you're from.
I'm Shannon Johnson.
And I'm Richard Blankenship.
Richard, Shannon and Richard. Well, thanks for agreeing to tell me you guys' story. So tell me what's going on. What do you guys want to tell me today?
Yeah, so I guess starting from the beginning, we always, for 15 years, give or take, we've been in the paranormal. My grandma, her house is based on Wycliffe, and, she's had demonic experiences there.
Wow.
And in the book, we had a book published called The Haunting of Beech Grove.
The Haunting of Beech Grove. I'm looking at it right now.
It has been, you can pick it up in Books A Million, Barnes & Noble, Amazon. It's available in the United States, UK. But in the house, there's a demonic presence. Her sister actually lived with her and has seen the demonic figure and committed suicide.
Oh.
Yeah, and it tells about that in the book. And it, the house was featured on Paranormal State.
Okay.
A&E's Paranormal State.
Yeah.
It was season 3.
Yep.
That's been a little bit ago, but I remember that show.
Yeah. I don't know if you've seen it with Return of the Six.
I never watched it very much. I would catch episodes here and there, so I may or may not have seen it. I'm not sure.
Ryan and Chad, they was two of the investigators. Ryan was the lead one. They done actually a podcast on the episode a few months back.
Nice.
Telling about it and how odd and unusual it was. But her dream was always to write a book about her experiences because living in a small rural area, if you talk about that, people think you are crazy. Or they don't believe it, whatever the case may be. And reading her journals after she passed away, it was kind of like what she was going through and without nobody there to help.
Yeah.
So I made it my mission, and after I got her journals after she passed away, to accomplish her dream.
So she recorded everything that was going on in her journals.
Yeah.
So that's what the book is from her. Wow, that's
some
cool.
her journals.
We divided it into 2 sections where the first section is all from her journals. It's just all that I've taken out and compiled into one story.
Okay.
And then the second part, it gathers timeline of events and other corroborating evidence and other stories that weren't recorded, but we picked up during the interview process of researching for the book.
Nice.
So we got some of the science, some of the evidence behind it, and some of the history as well of that area and how it works into the story.
How long did it take you to do all that and write the book?
She had multiple journals, and it was just deciphering through that. So
just a
good 8 months.
Months. I was on it quite a lot. I mean, once you picked it up into it and you're reading it and reading her, accounts of it. And you're like, oh wow, that's
you can't put it down.
That's the story behind it, and read it in their own handwriting, especially.
That's amazing.
Is an amazing.
Do you still have those
impact.
journals?
Yeah, absolutely.
That is very super cool.
Yeah, we do. And like I say, the book is very, very interesting, and I highly recommend going to watch that episode on Paranormal State because I can promise you would want to read more to the book. My grandpa actually still lives in the house.
Wow, is he still having experiences?
Yes, but nothing to the extent it had been, and nothing demonic. We've actually investigated the house, and we're actually doing a live event investigation on Halloween at the house.
Nice.
And we even have in here a couple of pictures from the investigation that we did of the house and the grounds that it sits on.
Okay.
And we were able to capture a few things there. I mean, we got voices, photos. One of the best of them was this face here we caught in the woods behind the house. Because it's not just the house itself we found, but a lot of the surrounding area as well.
Wow.
And it was an interesting process, to say the least.
And like my wife and other people has the experiences. In our second book, we're going to be telling them more about the experiences. Like my mother and my wife and my sister was at the house, and they heard something physically coming up the stairs, and my mom had to hold the door because it felt like something was coming open and nobody was there.
Wow.
And telling them to run out because they thought somebody was breaking in. But the door downstairs is narrowed shut, so there's not one way in, one way out in the basement.
Dang.
Yeah.
Well, what's like, out of everything you guys read through the journal, what's like one story that stood out to you guys above all the rest? Put you on the spot a little bit.
Probably one
here.
that touched, like, I don't want to say freaked me out, but got me to thinking was, one night she was laying in bed, and this was after she'd seen the demonic figure.
Mm-hmm.
She described it as blacker than night with like a ram's head. Well, she said it sounded like a little kid crying behind a dresser, like it was scared or something.
Yeah.
Like it was scared of that figure. And like the way she described it in the book, it just gives me goosebumps.
Wow.
Yeah.
Very interesting. This is one of the coolest stories that
yeah.
I've heard in a long time, to actually have, basically firsthand accounts. It's the next best thing. If you can't talk to the person, you got their journals as it was happening. So that is amazing.
And there's been multiple people that's lived in the house. Like there was a doctor that lived in the house that went crazy and threw a piano down the basement stairs.
Dang. Yeah. So there's something going on at that house for sure.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
And I don't think it's evil at this point, but I don't know if you know Chip Coffey.
Yes,
but he was
I know who he is.
He was the medium that come there. And he thinks there was a spring under the house.
Yeah, he said.
And he thinks that's how the spirits travel, and that's just like a travel place for spirits.
No, it's like a stopping point. It's passing through and they stop off. And
he got an article published, actually, he wrote in the UK about that.
Well, the one that was on that particular subject was on UNX Network or UNX Magazine. And it's about the effect or the correlation and possible causation between water supply or running water and the events of a haunting or supernatural events or anything like that.
Nice.
And also tied a little bit of the effect of like crystals and the science behind them, how they store memory and so forth.
See, we formed Veil Breakers, and he's got a degree in theology and psychology. So we look at it at both different angles,
I try to approach it more as a science kind of thing. A Mulder and Scully rolled all into one. You know what I mean?
And that's one of the things that like paranormal investigators and the tech and all the equipment and stuff that they use is people don't really. So far, it hasn't gotten the scientific props that I think that it really deserves.
Absolutely.
So people like you who are trying to put an emphasis on that science part that's very important, I think, for paranormal investigators. It's you can go spend $1,000 to get all the cool tools and all this other sorts of stuff and play with it and all that crap, but if you really know behind the science behind it and why it's doing what it does, that way you can more intelligently speak on, hey, look, I got this cool like EVP, or I got this cool recording off the spirit box, and this is how it works. This is how I got it.
The why.
It makes it more credible. So good on you for doing
that. Well, when we formed Veil Breakers Paranormal, and we made sure to put investigation and research and investigation, because like I say, you see a surge in the paranormal, spiritual, I would say 99.9% of people believe something of the spiritual realm.
I think if you look at surveys that have been done, there's
absolutely.
Really,
you see it all the
really
time on TikTok, YouTube, and I think getting in on the front lines of it is more of a research instead of just an investigation. That's why we named it Veil Breakers, breaking that veil, knowing the why, what lies behind the spiritual realm, like what is afterlife? Because we're also paramedics. We work in the EMS world.
Me too, brothers.
Oh, you are?
Me
okay,
too.
Yeah. So you get that as well.
Yeah.
And a cool little story about the yellow butterfly is that's a homage to my grandma. We was at the graveside when I was little after her sister Donna passed away, and she's give me a sign. within seconds, we got swarmed by 75 to 100 yellow butterflies. And that was her thing from then on, yellow butterflies. And she already said, if I pass away, you see yellow butterfly, that's me telling you I'm okay. So I think it was just meant to be.
That's cool, yeah. But you were talking about, you named your group Veil Breakers, right? Mm-hmm. And you're looking beyond the veil. And that reminded me, one of the things that I always close out my podcast with was that if you wish to change, you must open your eyes,
Mm-hmm.
and then you see, what's going on. And that's cool that you guys are
well, that and there's an old saying as well. I remember, and I read it once in the past. It said that discovery lies less in the finding of new lands and more in looking upon the world with new eyes.
Yeah.
And so it goes right along with what you're saying.
Well, I think, like I say, definitely check us out on that. And I think we got the best of both reporters. He don't give himself enough credit. Having that 2 degrees in this line of work, I mean, it's hard to come by, you know, so.
Well, thank you guys for telling me this story, man. This is cool. I'm definitely gonna check this book out.
Yeah. Well,
because
I
really
want to purchase if you want to get one, or it's available online.
Yeah, I would really. I'd love to get one.
Absolutely.
Yeah. All right. Thank you, guys. I appreciate you giving me this interview.
Man, that's a cool story. How fantastic it is to have a first-hand account in the form of a journal. Not just one journal, multiple journals. All of those paranormal and creepy things were recorded right as they happened. And that's not something that paranormal investigators and researchers come across very often. So that's a very unique thing. And it was a family thing. So it's part of family lore, family history. That is so cool. And I was just fascinated by this whole entire story. We talked a lot off of the air about that, and man, it's just very cool. So I wish Shannon and Richard good luck on their endeavors. And if you want to check their book out, The Haunting of Beech Grove, and Beech is spelled Beech, The Haunting of Beech Grove, just look it up on Amazon and you can find it. Well, it is time for another break, but I'll be right back with the final 2 stories of the evening.
This episode is brought to you by eBay. Buying parts for your car? You'll know that will it work feeling. But on eBay, buying parts is different. eBay's free returns means if it doesn't fit, or if it isn't what you expected, you just print a label, drop it off, and get your refund fast. No haggling, no stress, and at least 30 days to return any eligible item. Millions of parts, free returns. eBay. Things people love. Eligible items only. Exclusions apply.
Welcome back. Now I've got an interview with the man behind the West Kentucky Paranormal Expo, paranormal investigator and podcast host Kent Wilson. And he's going to tell us about how he got started in the expo, how he started this whole thing. So welcome to the podcast, Kent Wilson.
Kent Wilson from... Tell me the name of your group again?
Ken 10 Paranormal.
Ken 10 Paranormal. He is the purveyor, the guy that is responsible for the West Kentucky Paranormal Expo. And he is here to just tell us about the expo. I want to hear one of your best paranormal stories while you're here. So, Kent, appreciate you being here and for having me, for doing this. I really appreciate it. It means a lot to me. And I really appreciate you giving me the opportunity to be here and talk to all these people. So tell us about the expo and how you came up with it.
So I'm thankful you're here. The expo actually started 3 years ago because the tourism committee asked me if I could do something because Graves County, Kentucky has adopted Halloween as their thing. So they have haunted graves, which makes sense. Graves County, haunted graves. So they have haunted graves in October, and a special event every weekend. We have 2 of the top haunted attractions, haunted houses in the state. In Graves County, we have we have Talon Floors, and we have the Industrial Slaughterhouse. So, and the cool thing about the Industrial Slaughterhouse, the slaughterhouse is actually haunted.
Nice, an actual haunted house.
Yeah, yes. And so my team got to investigate it as an investigation. So, so the first year we did it, we threw it together in 4 months. and we had it in the conference room at the library. So we got bigger every year. As you see, we moved to the Expo Center last year, and it's a big.
This is the big area right here.
And we've already had a good crowd come through. So I like that. The reason we do it really. I'm not like some of the people, and I'm not in this to make money or be famous. I actually do it to promote the paranormal into this community because we're in the we were in the Bible Belt. I mean, we were in the heart of the Bible Belt.
Yeah.
So me growing up, I have abilities, whatever title you want to use, medium, clairvoyant, whatever title. So I've always had. So I've grown up in Wycliffe. I was told straight to my face at 6 years old that I was going to hell, and I was I was a tool of the devil.
That's not what you want to tell
us.
No.
So I've made it my life's work, my life passion to educate the public about it.
Yeah.
It's not like that, And thanks to as I like to call it, the para-pop culture. That's my word. You can use it. The para-pop culture. That's made my purpose harder and easier because now it's easier to talk about. But a lot of the para-pop culture is so fake. You have to worry about that.
Yeah, people are trying to get their 15 minutes worth of fame, so they're willing to do whatever it takes to get that. A lot of, not everybody, but a lot.
Like say it's a demon when it's not.
Dude, don't get me started on that.
So interesting story, as you know, because we talked about this before. I just finished my first book.
Yeah.
Not that I ever wanted to be a writer, but everybody was like, "Kent, you need to write a book."
You need to write a book. Yeah.
So I finally wrote a book. My working title ended up being my title. Some people, some good friends of mine in the field, always told me my title was too long, but my personality is what everybody likes. So I wanted my personality in the book. I wanted my personality in the. So the title of my book is actually "Don't Buy Generic Batteries," and it's probably not a demon. The Memoirs of a Paranormal Investigator. So, and there are demons out there. I'm not denying that. I'm actually, not only am I an experienced investigator and a passionate one, I'm also an educated one. I have a degree in parapsychology. I have 2 degrees in theology, and I am a trained demonologist under Bishop Long in the Old Catholic Church.
Okay.
So I'm educated too. So I'm not denying it, but not everything's a demon. You're talking about less than 1%.
Yeah, that's the popular thing thanks to an unnamed television show where everything all of a sudden just one day started becoming a demon. And now if you look at all these paranormal investigation groups, they're all jumping on that bandwagon. And I am squarely with you. Not everything is a freaking demon.
Less than 1%.
Mm-hmm.
I tell these people all the time, you don't want to see a demon, so why, I'm trained and I don't want to see a demon, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah, why would you want, why you want one? Yeah, why you want to invite one in? Yeah.
There's malicious spirits out there, there's a lot of malicious spirits, but, what I tell people when it comes to malicious spirits, if you were a dickhead when you were alive,
that's exactly what I was going to say, because you don't just necessarily change when your afterlife is going to be as when you were walking this earthly plane. And that's what I tell a lot of people too. If you were an a-hole in life, you're going to be an a-hole in death, unless you just got some sort of great epiphany, which does happen, I'm sure. But I think for the most part, the personalities stay the same.
We actually investigated. It was odd because it's one of those investigations. We were actually asked by the sheriff's department to come investigate. It's one of these urban legends like you hear in every town. Yeah. So I was like, it's the urban legend about a boy and girl, high school sweethearts going to prom, getting killed. So I was like,
that one.
Yeah. I was like, give me a break. But
was it on a bridge too?
No, it was like a country road,
It's never like Highway 1. It's always something.
So, but since we were called out by the sheriff's department, I was like, we'll check it out.
Yeah.
We did actually make contact with both the girl and the guy.
Okay, so there was something to it.
Yeah.
Okay.
What was interesting was the girl. The girl, she's who we came in contact with first, and she told us. And just as plain as I'm talking to you, she told us that she hadn't crossed over because she wanted to cross over with her boyfriend. She wanted to cross over together.
Okay.
So, and it took us forever, like another 45 minutes before we was able to get in contact with the boyfriend.
Wow.
When we finally got in contact with him, we explained to him. Jessica was her name. We was like, Jessica is waiting on you to cross over. He told us to our face, well, to my face, because I'm the one that communicated with. Yeah. So he told me, he's like, well, that's sweet, and I appreciate that, but I'm going to hell. So that's why I haven't crossed over. So she needs to go ahead and cross over without me.
Oh, wow.
But yeah, he told us that straight to us. I mean, I don't know.
I've never heard anyone tell something like that before.
Yeah, I mean, he told it straight to us. And, I guess I may be kind of the odd paranormal investigator, especially for doing it as long as I have. Mm-hmm. But I'm a religious guy. Religion is part of my.
Yeah.
I incorporate it in my thing. I look at my gifts as gifts from God, and I'm to use them to help people.
Well, that's great.
So you have other people that are like, oh, religion has no place in, but
I'm a little on the fence. I always think you should, and I think you probably feel the same way that I do. I think you should always, if you're going to do an investigation, you should always come in with an open mind, and you don't need to come in with bringing religion into it to start off with, and you don't need to come into with, oh, this is a demon. I already know this is a demon, or anything that's already preset in your head. You need to come in with an open mind.
Yeah, if it's preset in your head,
that's what you're going to find, because you've already got it there.
Yeah. And I don't bring my religion. The only part the religion plays in my investigation is I am big on protection.
Yeah, there's nothing wrong with that.
So we do a prayer of protection before we go in, and we do a prayer of detachment before we leave.
And you should. Yeah.
But I mean, I have members of my team that are not religious. I have members of my team that are Wiccans. I have a member of my team who studies occult stuff. So I'm not here to judge people.
Yeah, exactly.
But to me, my gifts are from God. So
But you got to protect yourself. Before you go in. And I like that you do. One when you come out too.
Yeah.
So is your book published yet?
It's actually. I'm waiting on my forward from Aaron G. Thompson.
Okay.
So I'm picking that up. He was my guest last night on my podcast.
Okay.
And I called him out on not having it to me yet. And he said he would have it to me Friday when I see him at Rock Island.
Okay. Well, tell everybody the name of your podcast and when do you broadcast and how can they get it?
So my podcast is Paranormal Addicts Podcast.
Okay.
And we broadcast every Friday at 6 p.m. Eastern, 7 p.m. Eastern, and we're available right now on live on Facebook, on Get Haunted, or of course on the Paranormal Addicts podcast page, and then live on YouTube, and then after that we're on Spotify, and for season 3 we're going to start streaming on Scare Network.
Scare Network. That's cool. And when do you think your book is going to be available?
I'm hoping to have it available in December, but definitely by January.
It'll be on Amazon?
Yep.
All right, cool.
Yeah.
So tell everybody the name of your book again.
Don't buy generic batteries, and it's probably not a demon. The memoirs of a paranormal investigator.
So look for that soon on Amazon. Kent, thank you so much for having me here. This is a great event that you've got going on, and I look forward to coming back in the future.
Next year.
Yes, sir. You got it. Thank you.
And Kent he's a very interesting person who's investigated a lot of places, and I'm so happy that he invited me to be a part of the West Kentucky Paranormal Expo this year, and I'll definitely come back in 2026. And you guys be sure to check out his podcast, Paranormal Addicts. That's available on YouTube. And for the final story of this first part of this 2-part episode is Josh Morris from the Teps Investigates TV show on the Paraflix network. He's got an interesting story about a lady in the window.
All right, I am here with Josh from Teps Investigates. Josh, thanks for sitting down and telling me a story. So first of all, tell us about Teps Investigates and what do you guys do?
All right, so Teps Investigates is it's basically a show. It's an original series that you can find on Paraflix. Paraflix, of course, is like a streaming network.
Yeah.
I always say it's like the paranormal Netflix, right? So,
yeah.
But I've been involved in the industry for about 30 years, and in fact, when my very first team, I was living in the Panhandle of Florida, and started doing preliminary investigations for a new show called Ghost Hunters back then. So we kind of got our start there, and then been involved in the industry for several years, and now have my own shows. This is my second original series, and we're wrapping up season 2 for the new series, TEPS Investigate. So been around touring now.
I guess TEPS is an acronym.
Well, it actually stands for the Everything Paranormal Show, which is my old podcast.
Okay, all right, got it. So that would be the email address. Okay,
right,
I get it.
yeah.
I'm slow, but I pick up on stuff.
But when I stopped kind of doing the podcast a lot, we shortened it up to TEPS. But believe it or not, I was doing some gaming, some online scary games. And so you can't put like the Everything Paranormal Show as a gamer name. So I would put like TEPS for short.
Yeah.
Well, then people started calling me TEPS. Well, so there you go.
There you
now
go.
it's TEPS Investigates.
So now you're TEPS.
Pretty much.
That's your name. Yeah.
That's my new name.
Well, tell me like one of your favorite stories from your investigations, because I'd love to hear it.
Okay. Well, I will tell you a ghost story, but it's actually not during an investigation.
Okay, sweet.
This was one of only 2 times I think I actually witnessed a real ghost. Because, investigating, I hear a lot of sounds, noises, capture a lot of evidence, but it's actually seeing a real ghost.
With your own eyes, yeah.
Yeah, that's different.
Yeah.
So I was at my day job, and I had to go change a piece of equipment that was on the side of a house. Okay. I worked for like a cable internet company at the time. And so I knocked on the door to let the customer know that the services were going to go down for a little bit, his internet and cable. And an old man came to the door, and he said, okay. He said, that's no problem. Well, I walked around to the back of his house, and this is, now mind you, this is in the broad daylight.
Okay, yeah.
Okay, this is not at night.
Yeah, you don't do service like that in the middle of the night. Yeah.
Right, so, and I'm standing there, and I had to like lean. He had like a big prickly holly bush. If anybody knows what a holly bush is, they're pokey. And
yes, been stabbed by him many times.
So I had to like lean up against his house and kind of push him. Well, anyway, so I'm leaning over trying to replace his equipment. Well, right in my face is a window that leads into his house. It's bright out. So inside the house, it's dark, and you can't really see in the house. Okay, just to kind of paint the picture. You just see it's a screen, a window. It's dark. Well, I'm working. All of a sudden, I turn my face, and there's a woman in the window right. Like almost like 8 inches away from me, basically. Ooh. Very ashy looking. It was an old lady, and it startled me, and I physically jumped. And my first reaction was, I bet I scared this poor lady. Yeah. So I said, I'm sorry, ma'am. I kind of put my hand up. Yeah. I'm sorry, ma'am. And then she just kind of faded back into the darkness, like out of a movie. And I'm like, okay, that was kind of creepy. So I get done. I go around back to the thing. So I talked to the old man. I said, okay, sir, I'm finished with everything. I said, can you go ahead and check your internet, check your TV, make sure everything's back on? So he walks away. He comes back a few minutes later, says everything's working. I said, well, listen, I also want to let you know, tell the woman that's in there, your wife maybe or something, please let her know I apologize for maybe scaring her. He said, oh, there's nobody here. It's just me.
Dang.
I was like, oh, and then like the goosebumps on the back of my neck stood up. I was like, oh my God. So then I called one of my team members. I was like, hey, look this dude up. Like, look this guy up. And then she sent me a picture of the obituary for his wife, and it was her.
Oh no.
I was like, oh my God. And then more goosebumps on top of my goosebumps. So I like to share that one because that's one of my most craziest encounters.
Now, did you have to like fight the urge to go knock on this guy's door and say, hey, I want to investigate your house?
Yeah, but also when it's like a deceased loved one, you kind of like, you want to kind of hesitate a little bit. Yeah. But now I'll give you another little secret because that story is in my book, right? But this is a little bonus that's not in the book. So I actually went later. I went back there later on, about 4 years.
Oh, okay.
4 years later, I had to go back there because I still was working at this job. I show up and a woman answers the door. She's slightly younger. And I tell her the story because, we get talking. She said, well, I've been living here for 8 years. I'm like, well, wait a minute. I was only here 4 years ago. I only moved into the area recently. I wasn't here for 8 years ago. She's like, well, I've been living here for 8 years. There's no old man here.
What?
So I'm like, now I'm really blown away. So there you go. I don't know.
Oh, damn.
I really don't know any of that. Like, that's all I know is I went there, was talking to her. I thought maybe it was like going to be her dad or somebody, you know, that she was going to have an explanation for this. But then when I got telling her this, and she was like, well, when was you here? And I said, that was about 4 years ago. I said, that's when I moved to the area and started working for this company. She's like, I've been here 8 years. I don't know of any, you know, it's just
Never
me.
seen you before.
Yeah, and it's like,
wow.
Oh my God. So anyways,
Jeez.
there you go.
Wow. That's a great follow-up to that story. You should have put that in the book, man.
I know, but I'd already written the book.
So tell everybody the name of your book and where they can find it.
The book is actually called My Paranormal, A Guide to the Spirit Realms. It's by Josh Morris, and it is available on Amazon, and it is available in, I think, like 11 countries also. So if you're a foreign listener, you might be able to get it too.
And the name of your show is Teps Investigates.
Teps Investigates.
Okay, and tell everybody when and where.
Okay, so Teps Investigate is on Paraflix. It's a streaming service. You can find that stream. You can download Paraflix almost on anything, pretty much. Roku, all that stuff. And you can find me on Facebook. I'm still under the Everything Paranormal Show, but on YouTube you can find me as Teps Investigates.
All right. Thank you very much for that. That's a cool story. I appreciate it.
Oh, yeah,
Thank you very much.
absolutely. Thank you for having me.
Yeah, thanks for being here.
Thanks, Josh, for telling us your story. It was a real pleasure to meet you. He's a really nice guy. Be sure to check out his show, Teps Investigates, on the Paraflix Network. And Teps is T-E-P-S, Tango Echo Papa Sierra. Teps Investigates on the Paraflix Network. Now, you guys, you all know that I do have an official Patreon page to go along with this podcast. And for as little as $1 a month, you can get commercial-free episodes and other bonus content. And just for a couple of bucks more, you'll also have access to my companion podcast, Midnight Syndicate, which I talked about earlier tonight, and Beyond Reality, plus the opportunity to appear as a guest on the podcast. Subscribing to my Patreon not only helps me support the podcast, but it helps me continue to bring you quality content on a regular basis. To learn more or to join, you can go to patreon.com/ParaReality, or just go to ParaReality.com and click on the Patreon tab. Now, you know I don't make any money out of this. I'm not expecting to be the next Joe Rogan or anything like that, but it does cost me money to produce this show and bring it to you. So every dime that I make, whether it's from Patreon or whether it's from the selling of merch, goes right back into this podcast. I don't pocket anything. So it would be great if you would join the Patreon page, or even just go to ParaReality.com and shop around and buy a little bit of merchandise to help support the show. I would greatly appreciate that. And that's going to do it for this episode of ParaReality. You know, we went through a lot tonight. We explored stories gathered from both the Tennessee Wildman and Cryptid and the West Kentucky Paranormal Expo. And man, what a ride it's been. We heard a jaw-dropping tale that could change the way we look at one of the most famous moments in human history, the moon landing itself. A story that suggests maybe, just maybe, our astronaut saw something up there that none of us were ever supposed to know about. And from there, we dove headfirst into the strange and the supernatural, time loops that trap people in moments they can't explain, haunted houses that still whisper after decades of silence, mysterious forest people moving unseen through the Tennessee woods, and even an unexplained presence that may have stepped in to save a woman's life when she felt that all hope was lost. Each story was different, but they all shared one thing in common: that sense that the world around us isn't quite as ordinary as it seems. Whether these experiences are rooted in the paranormal, the psychological, or something far beyond our understanding, one thing's for sure: the mystery is very real. But we're not finished yet. There were far too many stories from the West Kentucky Paranormal Expo to fit into a single episode. So I'll be back on Friday, November 7th at 8 o'clock p.m. Central U.S. time with part 2 of this special series. And trust me, what's coming next is every bit as chilling, strange, and thought-provoking as what you've just heard tonight. Until then, keep your mind open and your senses sharp, because the truth, whatever it is still out there waiting to be found. I'm Sandman, and this has been ParaReality. I hope that this podcast opens up your mind to new ways of thinking, expands your consciousness, and produces a change in the way you see the world. If you wish to change, you must lift the veil of ignorance that has been cast over your eyes. Only then will you see the true power of the universe. I hope that you have a wonderful evening, a great and spooky Halloween. I know I will. And I'll see you again on November the 7th. Good night, everybody.
If you wish to change, you must first lift the veil of ignorance that has been cast over your eyes. Only then will you see the true power of the universe.
Hey, it's not over. Thanks for sticking around. I got something to tell you. Do you want to be a member of the Secret Sanctum? Well, if you do, there's only one way to do that. Somewhere on ParaReality.com is a link hidden in my website. And if you can find that link and click on it, you'll be granted access to the secret bunker, and you'll become a member of the Secret Sanctum. It's 100% free. It's not going to cost you anything. And once you become a member, you'll have access to some secret audio files and secret documents, some of which are exclusive only to ParaReality and the members of the Secret Sanctum. You'll also get a free ParaReality Secret Sanctum t-shirt. Just fill out the form and let me know what size you are, where you're located in your name, and I'll get that right out to you. So if you want to be a member of the ParaReality Secret Sanctum and have access to the secret bunker, find the link.
Find audiobooks that work for you. Discover a neuroscientist's guide to boosting your brain health in Why Brains Need Friends by Dr. Ben Rhine. Explore the science-backed approach to manifesting the life of your dreams with How to Manifest by Lacey Phillips. And become the perfect host with Having People Over by Chelsea Fagan. Tap the banner to learn more.
You don't want rogue AI features controlling your mission-critical business systems. You need AI that works for you from a vendor you can trust. Acumatica leverages AI to solve real business problems, so you can be more decisive with AI-powered insights, get more done with intuitive AI assistance, and increase performance with intelligent automation, all while your data remains secure. Seize new possibilities with confidence and take your business to the next level. Visit Acumatica.com/Spotify today.